This is TuffTrax, and this is no problem. Today, Paul hit the giant killer on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. But can he knock off the two biggest giants of all? Bigfoot and the Equalizer continue their quest for the World Championship. Again, everyone, I'm Scott Douglas in the broadcast booth with Army Armstrong. Mike Goss is trackside, Chris Chapman's in the pits, and we are ready for the superstars of monster truck racing. That was Scott Stevens you just saw walking by, and he's got a reason to be smiling as Gary Porter is introduced to this big crowd, because Stevens, a week ago, won the Monster Smash Final over Porter's Carolina Cruncher. This is the Auto Value King Crunch's first win in almost a year, some 51 weeks of a dry spell on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge, but Scott Stevens back in victory lane as he comes up with the victory. The other big story from a week ago, the 9th flip for this truck, the True Value USA-1 Chevrolet. Steve Wilke goes over again. USA-1 in a very familiar spot, upside down. So Steve Wilke's truck sustained all that damage from a week ago. The first question is, can he even race today? Chris Chapman is standing by with Steve Wilke to get us a status update on the USA-1 Chevrolet.
Thanks, Scott. Last week here on TuffTrax, we saw USA-1 go end over end in a violent flip at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Joining us now is Steve Wilke, driver of USA-1. Steve, rehash that experience.
Well, Chris, as always, it's kind of hard to explain. Stafford Springs is an excellent track. It's a favorite of ours because it's long, it's fast, it's exciting for the public, and we enjoy coming here. What happened was I come out the first stack and had to drive it around the mid-range a little bit, and again, you're always in the throttle, you're always here to win, and I hit the second stack, a little bit of an angle, and the truck come up onto its side, as the people saw, and as the truck hit, the front studs that hold the springs in sheared off. Thusly, the tire hit the body of the truck, and I almost drove it out. I was amazed when I saw the videotape, but when the tire stuck on the body, there was just nothing you can do.
Well, this occurred last week on TuffTrax. In actuality, it's been 24 hours, less than 24 hours since that flip, and you've almost got this truck back together, it looks like. Will you be able to run tonight?
Oh, we plan to run tonight, Chris. The people of Stafford Springs and the people in the viewing audience deserve it. That's why we're here. We're professionals. My crew chief in the background here, Mark Gerard, and I have been working all night. We've been conspiring with the boss at home and determining what we can do and what we can't do. If you take a shot of the truck here, it's only got 2 carburetors on it and 3 shocks on the front. We've limited ourselves. We're not going to be 100% USA-1, you know, let's fly 14 cars type stuff, but the True Value Chevrolet is tough. We're going to show the people that we can come out here and play with the best of them, so to speak.
Steve, you look exhausted. Do you feel physically ready, and do you have faith in this truck to come back out there tonight?
Well, because of the people back at the shop, you always have faith in the truck. But again, it's not going to be 100%, Chris. I'd like to stress it. I'd say it's going to be a 3/4 pass. I'm going to give them something that they can ooh and ah about and say, hey, you flipped the truck over last night, and they do an excellent job in bringing that truck back here. No matter how far I go in the eliminations, it's a matter of pride for both me and Mark to just get it there.
Steve, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed for you, and we'll see later on if Steve Wilke and crew chief can get it back together and give it that USA-1 effort. Back to you, Scott.
Okay, Chris, we're going to be looking at qualifying highlights in just a moment, and we'll see if USA-1 and these other trucks are ready to go for it in Stafford Springs, Connecticut on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. TuffTrax is brought to you by Zerex Antifreeze Coolant. No matter how cold it gets this winter, no matter where you drive, it pays to remember the temperature never drops below Zerex. TuffTrax is also brought to you by Game Boy from Nintendo. Whenever you feel the need to be in control, reach for Game Boy from Nintendo. Your power to go. Scott Douglas, Army Armstrong, Mike Goss, and Chris Chapman with you from Stafford Springs, Connecticut, as we look at qualifying round highlights on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Well, the two trucks battling for the world title are Bigfoot 8 and the Equalizer. Bigfoot 8 comes in tonight, trailing by 15 points in the season standings. Where do you pick up points to start the night? In qualifying. And what Bigfoot wants to do is be fast qualifier. Something that should inspire him even more. The truck he lines up against, Army Armstrong, beat him head-to-head a week ago. Outlaw got a win over Bigfoot, and Mike Wine was quick to crow about it.
You know, this is the point of the year when deja vu racing takes over. Everybody's had a shot at somebody else all year long. The big thing right now, Mike Wine in his mind knows he can run with Amy Brass, but the qualifying shot is not showing it. It shows me Amy Brass plays serious hardball in Stafford Springs.
And obviously the Outlaw is not at 100% tonight, but Bigfoot lays down a superb shot. And that's going to be the fast time in qualification. 7.13 in Army. That is significantly faster than any time we saw on this track a week ago.
One thing that's interesting, last week the right lane was not the place to be. This week, that might be the ticket, if you will. Look at that. Andy Brass is smooth, and the truck, like Chris Chapman said, when you go straight, you're going to go to the next round. He went straight as an arrow. Have they solved the problem? We may find out tonight.
There again the time, 7.13 for Bigfoot 8, the fast time. Outlaw much slower and obviously not all the way up to snuff at 9.92. Here's Mike Wine with Chris Chapman.
Mike, were you taking it easier or was there a problem with the truck?
Yeah, last week what we did, we broke a harmonic balancer on the front of the timing chain cover. That controls everything, the blower, the fuel, that controls everything, my steering, water pump system and all. We had a machinist make us one, but they're special order from California only. So we rigged it up a little bit just to go out here. We made promises to a lot of people, especially our sponsor, Super Winch, out of Putnam, Connecticut. We're going to go out there no matter what. We'll qualify easy. We'll run it hard when we have to. And there's $27,000 in a motor. You don't want to hurt it unless you have to, Chris.
So we're not going to see the true Jersey Outlaw. You're going to give us a show, but it's not going to be quite what you want.
No, I'll be able to put on a show. I'm going out and trying to make up for the points and everything like that. And at the end of the year, try to prove to my sponsor that I am capable and I am willing to run.
Good luck to you, Mike.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, Scott, I just noticed something. Chris has done 2 interviews, and both drivers are almost apologizing. They're not 100%.
Well, here's a truck that is also not 100% in Army. I guess it's going to be a night where it's a survivor's kind of track. Bennett Clark, Clydesdale, he's been just trying to survive all year. So many problems, a bad flip in Dallas, a bad wreck in Louisville, but he's back and hanging in there. The Equalizer, a week ago, had advanced into the semifinals, was about to pull the staging lane. Truck owner Gary Cook pulled the truck away, and it ended up backfiring on him, handing some extra points to Bigfoot. They're trying to make them up tonight, and Equalizer looks good.
Yeah, the Equalizer working the left lane to perfection, but did the point chase tighten up enough last week that was a critical event of backing off the starting line? That'll remain to be seen. But Scott, things like that will always come back to haunt you.
Again, when they decided not to go to the starting line and let Bigfoot back in, even though Equalizer had beaten Bigfoot, what it becomes, Army, is a 6-point swing, because for the loss, Bigfoot still got 3 points. Equalizer would have gotten those 3 had he run, but look at this, a 7.59, second fastest time. So despite Bigfoot's awesome run, it looks like he's only going to gain 1 point on Equalizer in qualifying.
Hey, but look who's coming up now. The fans are chanting USA. Steve Wilke rolls to the line to go head-to-head with the starving Marvin Smith and the Wild Hair.
After that flip a week ago, you saw it earlier on TuffTrax. I am just amazed that Steve Wilke and the USA-1 crew have that truck back and ready to go. I would not expect him to hit it very hard. Yeah, he's going to do the wise thing and just get the truck rolling and qualify for this race.
Marvin Smith will move into the next round, but a lot of people really like the USA-1 truck. Wilke, being a professional driver, using his head, got a chance to see the truck. I have to wait till next year to see it at 100%.
He's got himself into the race safely, however, with a legal qualifying run. Marvin Smith has a good run as well, 8.52. That'll put him 8th fastest in the qualifying round. Now, the qualifications set the first round of competition. Here's the way it'll shake down. USA-1 is safely in, but he goes in as the number 14 qualifier in this 14-truck field. Our first round will match up with the fast qualifier coming out, that being the Bigfoot truck, to take on Wild Hair. Then the Carolina Crusher will meet a crippled Outlaw. No Problem takes on USA-1. King Krunch, the auto value special, against Pain Crusher. Then it's King Kong to take on Nightlife. And rounding out the first round of competition, we'll see Clydesdale against Playin for Keeps, and the Equalizer against the Buffalo Tremor. The superstars of monster truck racing battling for the TNT World Championship. The defending champion Equalizer enters tonight's competition with a 15-point lead over the Bigfoot Ford. The Carolina Crusher probably running just to hold on to third now at this late stage of the season. The Auto Value King, Krunch, and the Kong trucks rounding out the top 5. Then it's USA-1, Nightlife, Gravedigger, Outlaw, and Buffalo Tremor in the top 10. And of course, those top 10 spots are where they pay the big bucks in the season point fund at the end of the year. Andy Brass and the Bigfoot Ford out of St. Louis, Missouri, and he knows this other truck well. It may have a new paint job, the Wild Hair, but to him it's the old stomper, a guy he's seen many times, Marvin Smith out of Arnold, Missouri.
Andy Brass had a handle on it qualifying. By handle, I mean he went straight. Can he do it in the first round? Yeah. Uh-oh. Maybe they found the problem, Scott.
Bigfoot looks so good when he can go straight. What looks like something underneath.
Yeah, they've got some safety loops. He may have had a drive shaft getting a safety loop, but no major problem. The big question that was just answered is, look, Andy Brass, when he lands, is going straight. That's about like telling your neighbor he's going to have a toothache in about an hour and a half.
Still, it appears the starting line's a problem for him with that thin layer of dirt on top of the asphalt. Let's go to Mike Goss, who's with Andy Brass.
Andy, looks like you got your handling problem straightened out.
Yeah, it looked like the truck was running pretty good tonight. You know, the only thing I'm really concerned about is the start line. As long as we can get a good launch off the line and they keep packing it before every round, I think we're gonna do pretty good tonight.
So the problem is loose dirt on the asphalt down there?
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of dirt. They only got about 2 to 3 inches, you know, and if they don't keep packing it, the problem is a lot of guys are just breaking loose, and you sit on top of the asphalt, and with a little bit of dirt there, it's just like sitting on ice.
Second set of cards is no problem, is it?
It's not, you know. If we can keep this thing going straight, you know, and keep under the fire, you know, the 14 or 15 cars, we're going to be able to just launch right over them.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you something. Andy Brass is a racer, and he walked out of here a week ago, Army embarrassed that he had lost 3 times, and he got his act together, and that Bigfoot team has come to play today.
Yeah, when he came back in the building, so to speak, to this week, he and his mechanic were the hunter-killers of this sport. They were going after each and every one of these other monster trucks, and that round just proved it.
Carolina Crusher out to go up against the Outlaw. Now remember, Outlaw with mechanical problems. He gets off the line in good shape.
Half-track, he looks good.
Oh, he just fell off. Yeah, he couldn't keep it straight. Boy, he really gave it a run, didn't he, Army?
Well, now, he told us in the interview with Chris that the steering was part of the problem they were having with the truck. He runs Carolina Crusher real hard for half the course, but discretion is the better part of valor. He was in trouble right now and just backpedals the motor. He'll be back another day in the Super Winch Outlaw.
That day will not be today, however. Officially, it's a disqualification, which will put him on the trailer. Crusher wins it. Let's see if we can find out from Mike Wine exactly what happened.
What we're having problems with, like I told you last week, we broke the bottom snout. That steers everything. That lines up all the belts. That lines everything up. I went out, lined up for the cars, and I went to turn after I went over the first set of cars. And that was it. It was like driving a car with no power steering at all. There was no turning at all. The way it was lined up was the way it was going to go. So we went out, and we did our best. You know, we tried to prove to Super Winch that we have a truck that is competitive, even broke down. We're running 40%. Our truck is competitive. We will be back. We will be number 1 for Super Winch next year. With them people behind us out of Putnam, Connecticut, we got it made. We can do it. There's nothing that can stop us now. Last week, as you know, we beat Bigfoot number 8. Carolina Crusher, we beat him out of a hole with a motor that's hurt, no steering. We can take anybody on a good day.
You know, it's great to listen to a Chris Chapman interview with all the poignant questions to pull out answers from guys who just won't give you a decent answer there, you know, Armin?
Yeah, I asked him a question. It's Chris asked him a question. She asked him what time it is. I tell her how to build a clock. Speaking of building a clock, these guys completely rebuilt this Chevrolet coming to the line now.
No problem, the Ford Bronco taking on that USA-1 Chevrolet, and look at John Moore go. John Moore
just amazing tonight. The right chassis, the right wheel base. John Moore is going to be a player in Connecticut before this whole thing is over. I guarantee you, he's got that look in his eye.
No mercy, no problem knows that USA-1 had to rebuild that truck all night. John Moore says, I'm going for the juggler, and he hits it hard.
No problem is taking no prisoners in Connecticut. He is for real.
Big win for John Moore and the no-problem Ford Bronco as he knocks off one of the legends, the USA-1 Chevrolet of Steve Wilke. He ran it harder than expected, but he falls short to John Moore.
John, any win against USA-1's a good one.
That's right. You can never count the truck out. They worked real hard on it last night. Steve's good. You know, you never, even crippled, USA's a hard one to run.
How about your truck? I mean, do you feel like you've got an honest chance to do something out here?
Feels pretty good. We did a little gear change from last night. We topped the motor out last night. Feels pretty good. I don't know. We're going to run round by round and give it all the motor's got. Let's see how it comes out.
Good luck. Thanks. No question about the fact that John Moore and the no-problem Ford Bronco is running very, very well. Well, the USA-1 truck did give it a good run. Let's go to Chris with Steve Wilke.
Steve, a job well done.
Well, Chris, for True Value Chevrolet, you always want to do better. We did the best we could. When I left here, the fans weren't running for some reason, and I couldn't get a hold of Mark. And when I left the starting line, I was making 240 degrees. But I think I give the fans, you know, something to remember me by, so to speak.
Are you satisfied? You've really been busting your butt after the past 24 hours. You got out there and you got through the first round.
Well, Chris, I want to go do it again. Any true competitor, anybody that's in our sport, they don't do it for the paycheck. And, you know, I do it for the fans and True Value Chevrolet. You guys, you know, it gives you guys a job, right? And it's really something. It's a feeling that I can't explain.
We'll get some rest and we'll see you next time.
Oh, you bet.
I didn't know Steve Wilke signed your paycheck now, Army.
No, but I do appreciate it. I tell you that. Hey, speaking of paychecks, the boy on the right, he's been taking paychecks home all year long. He goes up against the truck that we've seen before. The far lane is the previous truck owned by Dave Wieczorek with a new driver doing a good job, but he picks on one of the bad boys of the sport, Scott Stevens, who puts him on the trailer real quick at Stafford Springs.
The Pain Crusher getting a little pain handed to him by the Auto Value King Krunch, putting him away. And I'll tell you, Scott Stevens winning a week ago is certainly on a roll. He looks like he's going to be a player for the championship here once again this time around. Good, strong run, beating the Pain Crusher of Ron Payne out of Ruckersville, Virginia. Scott Stevens, your winner, and he has worked his way back to Chris Chapman. Let's go to that interview.
Scott, congratulations on a relatively easy win over the Pain Crusher.
Yeah, you know, we kind of underestimated him, and he was running really good, and the main thing, I didn't want to disqualify ourselves. So the truck looked really goofy because we were going way off our pace. You know, we were pretty slow that run, so the truck don't work as good when you're going slow. So we're going to have to step it back up next round. I'm not for sure who we have. I think no problem. He's running real good.
Well, good luck. Any strategies?
Oh, with John, you just got to run real hard because, you know, he's been doing it a long time. And he don't cut nobody no slack. That light turns green, John leaves harder than anybody. And, you know, we just got to leave a little harder.
Good luck.
Scott Stevens, the Auto Value King Krunch. Well, coming up, the new King Kong is here at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. But just like last week, there's a lot of welding going on as they try to work out the kinks in a very soft and very bouncy suspension. The story's coming up. Competition on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge right here on TuffTrax. Stafford Speedway, Stafford Springs, Connecticut will bring us Clydesdale and Playin for Keeps.
Hey, Scott, when we go to the starting line, look between the monster trucks. We're monster truck racing. What's that between the monster trucks?
It's a monster, all right.
Boy, these people in Connecticut are really hospitable. I like that. Who's coming out to the line now?
It's Playin for Keeps, Jesse Birgy, closest to you out of Michigan, against the Clydesdale Chevrolet. Bennett Clark out of Powder Springs, Georgia, and the Clydesdale has a good run and a good win.
Clark teamed up with the Hardy Boys to make the horsepower in that truck. They are going to find the combination. It's just been out of reach, just TT all year long. This might be the night for them.
Jesse Birgy, of course, trashed the truck earlier this year, had to come back and rebuild. Still working out the kinks, gives it a good run here. But the Clydesdales look pretty sharp here in Stafford Springs. Bennett Clark getting the victory over Jesse Birgy's Playin for keeps. Now remember that Clydesdale Chevrolet is the longest wheelbase truck on the tour. You kind of forget that with the bed missing from it. And the Playin for keeps truck is a very short wheelbase. The long one wins it there. Bennett Clark is with Mike Goss.
Bennett, I'd say it's one of your stronger runs in several months.
Yeah, the truck is looking real good. We had a lot of help back at the shop. People in North Georgia Performance, Dave, Mike Hardy, my wife. I've really been working hard trying to get this thing or get this thing down the track.
I understand you're kind of wondering where your wife is. She's supposed to be on the way to you with some sheet metal.
Yeah, she's supposed to be bringing my body to me. Here I am up here in Connecticut, and she's down in Georgia or somewhere in between. I don't know.
I hope you find her.
Thank you.
Well, Bennett Clark, more problems than just the truck. Where's his wife? She'll make it.
You know, in all honesty, I think he might be worried more about his truck right now than his wife. Don't you dare tell him I said that. Who's coming out now? Oh, New York going against Tennessee. Tell us about it, Scott.
The world champion Equalizer against the Buffalo Tremor. There you see the graphic. Equalizer has dominated this head-to-head matchup, but let's be fair to the Buffalo Tremor. Equalizer has dominated most of his head-to-head matchups in his career, racing in 2 years of TNT monster truck action.
Yeah, but this kid out of New York, you can't get him out. The Equalizer knows it. He's both pushing over. Equalizer. Look how smooth it goes.
Boy, he really got a lot of air on the back end.
I say smooth. It would scare you and I to death to drive the truck. Nah, it's just another day at the office, right, kid?
The Buffalo Tremor ends up coming a little bit short in his bid to upset the Equalizer. Greg Holbrook, the rookie driver. Well, we can't even call him a rookie anymore. So many races under his belt in the truck that won the World Championship a year ago. Boy, look at the air under there. He really got up a great run and nose dives at the end, but everything looks like it's intact for the Equalizer and Greg Holbrook. Another look here.
Again, notice how the truck lands. They're trying to fly all 14 of the jump cars is what they're trying to do. There's a little bit of hole in the 14th car. You can fly over it, you're going to be a player.
Greg Holbrook's your winner.
Greg, really your three biggest foes, Bigfoot, Crusher, and King Krunch, are all in the top bracket. You've got to be feeling pretty good.
You know, if you get second in qualifying, it knocks you down in the lower bracket, and you get some slower runners, so that's a break for me.
Tell us about this last set of cars. That was a rough ride.
Yeah, when I landed, my back tires landed on the cars and front tires on the ram, and it just kicked my back end up, and you just got to get in the gas real hard to get it back down on the ground then.
Bigfoot's clearing all those cars. Have you got a chance against him?
Yeah, I ain't running wide open yet. It's just it's just early.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Mike Goss was asking Greg Holbrook about the brackets. What he was pointing out very aptly is that Foot, Crusher, No Problem, King Krunch are the four trucks that have come out of that top bracket. Now down there in the bottom half, Equalizer will get to go against Clydesdale, and also the winner of this race is going to be alive, and the fast loser. So although Clydesdale's been running well, certainly I think that the Equalizer would much rather take his chances against Bennett Clark than have to meet one of those other trucks early.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott, but something I'm looking at right now on the starting line, this King Kong truck is, at one time, was the premier chassis truck. Somebody caught it and passed it. Now he's trying to work his way back. But look who he picks in this round. One of the strong independents, Dave Wieczorek, the quiet monster truck driver in this sport. Wieczorek goes the next round. King Kong, they're going back to the drawing board.
Well, Nightlife gets the win, and still a lot of work needs to be done on that new King Kong truck. The beautiful Nightlife Chevrolet of Dave Wieczorek out of Grand Island, Nebraska, getting a victory over King Kong. You can see the new suspension, all the big coils and coil-over shocks there, but they still haven't got it dialed in.
Boy, it's amazing. All the new toots and whistles are coming up with to make these trucks go fast. And old Dave Wieczorek, he'll stand eyeball to eyeball with any of them and run them hard.
That wraps up the first round of competition, so we're set for the quarterfinal round, and there are going to be some very interesting matchups in the round of 8. Bigfoot, a winner over Wildhair, will now have to take on the steady Carolina Crusher. Then we're going to see John Moore's Red Hot No Problem truck take on last week's winner, the Auto Value King Krunch. Scott Stevens going for 2 in a row. Nightlife comes out against the fast loser. That's the Buffalo Tremor. And then, as we documented earlier, Equalizer seems to have an advantage in brackets. He'll get to take on Clydesdale. It's coming up on TuffTrax. of monster truck racing move to the quarterfinal round and a key battle in the standings for the TNT World Championship. Bigfoot, second in the season points, hoping to track down Equalizer for number 1, but hey, he better not look over his shoulder. Carolina Crusher sits third and would love to beat him here to try and track him down for second.
There's a little added incentive here. If Carolina Crusher gets beat, which he did, that's the last time you're going to see Gary Porter in that truck. You just saw a little bit of motorsport history go down the tubes right there as Bigfoot takes the win.
Again, that truck is sold, and Gary Porter will be coming right back with a brand new truck.
Yeah, but Porter goes over and salutes the crowd and says, thank you for your support. That's been a good truck for him, hasn't it, Scott?
It sure has. It's been a great truck. He carried him to the number 2 spot in the World Championships a year ago. He's running third right now. And again, when he brings his new truck out, the points that he accumulates in that new truck next week will continue to go right along with the old truck. TNT rules allow you 1 truck change per season. The winner was Andy Brass.
Tell us about that run, Andy.
Well, this one was a little bit different. You know, it wasn't as hard coming off the line. The truck did pull a little bit to the right side, but, you know, it was coming good off the first set of cars. I just kind of let out of it a little bit and then got back in it, and the truck pulled straight pretty fast. So I wasn't real happy with it, but it wasn't a bad run.
Well, we'll see if he's sentimental at all. Gary Porter, his last run in that version of the Carolina Crusher, will now come over and talk to Chris Chapman.
Gary, after the first round of competition, you came running back here. Was the Carolina Crusher running all right?
Yeah, it was running okay. The batters, well, you know, it got a little weak, and I wanted to hurry up and get it on the charge, and I landed real hard on the left side. I wanted to check everything out to make sure the truck was 100% for this last run.
And what about that last run?
Well, I've done the best I could do. Andy laid down a good pass, and, you know, he can say that he was the last one to beat this Carolina Crusher because that was the last run for the truck.
But a new Carolina Crusher who doesn't want anybody to beat him is going to be out next week. All right, John Moore, the no-problem Ford Bronco. Boy, he's been looking good all night, but now he has to take on last week's winner here at Stafford Springs on TuffTrax, Scott Stevens and the red-hot Auto Value King Krunch.
John Moore came into this thing. He brought his lovely daughter, Jill, and his wife, Heidi, up here on this tour. A lot of confidence in Moore we haven't seen all year long. Look at this. He's running them hard. Moore pulls it. Upset. What a run by Moore in that Ford.
A huge upset. John Moore's no problem. Ford Bronco may have arrived because he has put one of the bad dogs on the trailer, and that means in back-to-back rounds, he records victories over USA-1 and the Auto Value King Krunch. We knew USA-1 wasn't 100%, but the Auto Value King Krunch should have been.
Scott Stevens said you can't cut him any slack. I believe he may have lost just a little on the line, and John Moore took him to court over it.
The Auto Value King Krunch goes on the trailer, and the no-problem Ford Bronco advances to meet Bigfoot in the semifinals. Scott Stevens has to be disappointed.
Well, you said you were going to have to push it against John Moore and no problem.
Yeah, he had a real great run, and you know, can't take nothing away from John. He kicked our tail. You know, wasn't the kind of run we've been looking for all weekend, but you know, he did a good job, and you know, we didn't.
You looked like you got a little out of whack getting into that last set of cars.
Yeah, the truck got real squirrely. I tell you, I'm just glad it didn't get up on its top. But you know, we didn't hurt no parts, you know, so it's okay.
We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Looks to me like it's time for the Nintendo Power Drive. This week's Power Drive is brought to you by Nintendo's Game Boy, where every shift of the gears brings to you more games and excitement. Whenever you feel the need to be in control, reach for Game Boy from Nintendo, your power to go. The Power Drive is another look at the big upset for John Moore and the no-problem Ford Bronco over the Auto Value King Krunch of Scott Stevens. The Nintendo Power Drive of John Moore and no problem. We'll be right back. You are back on television's most power-packed hour. It's TuffTrax with the superstars of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Now, Buffalo Tremor gets to come back as a fast loser. He's going to hook up with the Nightlife Chevrolet and Dave Wieczorek. John Kwasniewski drives the Tremor.
Dave Wieczorek has got to be one of the most underrated drivers in the sport. Trying to knock his kid from New York off? No, not going to do it.
Another upset. The Buffalo Tremor shocks Dave Wieczorek and the Nightlife team. Buffalo Tremor taking advantage of that fast loser rule. He gets back into the competition and makes the most of it.
Johnny Cain and his team really looking good. You got to remember, they're from New York. They're close to home. They want to do good.
Another look at it as the Buffalo Tremor will take it by about 6 inches over Nightlife. What a close race. Here's Johnny Cain with Mike.
John, you made it to the semifinals. It's not been an easy road for you lately.
No, it hasn't been. We've been on a little bad luck road there for a while. Finally, we're getting back into the swing of it here.
Pretty rough track when you hit that second set of cars, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like we're not clearing the last set completely, so we're hitting like the last second or third car, and it seems to throw you around a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Good luck in the semifinal.
Thank you very much.
Buffalo Tremor will be there in the Final Four. The Nightlife will not. Let's go to Chris Chapman and get the story from Dave Wieczorek of the Nightlife.
Dave, a very, very close run between you and John Kwasniewski.
It was. I got a bad bounce coming off that first set, and then it straightened out a lot faster than I was planning on it. And I got into it, and when I seen he was ahead, and I know when we landed, I kind of glanced over and seen we were both landing down at the same time, so I had no idea who won.
What was going through your mind? Please let it be me, or, oh, what the heck?
Yeah, this would have been a good time with all the big guys running in the top of the bracket. My next run would have been Equalizer, but I've beaten him before, so I don't know, maybe my chance would have been tonight, but I guess the way luck had it, no.
Well, good luck, and I hope everything works out with Nightlife.
Thanks.
I'm going to tell you, there's a fellow by the name of Bennett Clark who's saying, why is everybody already talking about Equalizer in the semifinals? He's still got to beat me being the Clydesdale.
Yeah, well, the Equalizer, I guarantee, is not going to have a walkover the next round. Bennett Clark will drive you hard. He's going to push him, but Equalizer will go to that next round.
Too much truck and too much driver from Tennessee. The Equalizer trying to win a second straight world championship, recording a victory. The Equalizer, we'll see on the replay, just was able to establish control off the first set and really dominated over the second set of cars.
You got to remember, every round you advance, you pick up points. And when this blue truck gets points, there's another blue truck that goes under pressure. Each round is important at this point in time in the chase.
Both of those blue trucks, Equalizer and Bigfoot, are in the semifinals. As Bigfoot, Equalizer, No Problem, and Buffalo Tremor are still alive. Here's the way it's going to shake down in the semifinals. The Ford battle between Bigfoot and No Problem. And then we drop down to the Chevrolets when Buffalo Tremor takes on Equalizer. Bigfoot has had terrible problems in the starting line for 2 weeks here in Stafford Springs, and the crew is trying to rectify it. More dirt at the starting line. Will it be enough for Bigfoot? We're about to find out. TuffTrax taking you into the semifinal round at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Now, Army, 2 critical points to the semifinal race between Bigfoot and No Problem. You got to watch the start because Bigfoot has had a lot of problems getting started with only a couple inches of dirt on top of this asphalt. And then coming off the first set of cars, Bigfoot has had several problems handling himself in between the sets. Watch his start and then watch him off that first set of cars.
I think there's another point we got to bring out here. That's the yellow truck sitting in the lane next to him. John Moore has a confidence tonight I have not seen before. Andy Brass better not take him lightly.
And John has kept his truck straight throughout the night. That could be a big factor with the noted squirrely handling problems that Bigfoot has had in 2 weeks of racing at Stafford Springs, Connecticut.
One thing for sure, when that light goes green, we're going to find out. We're going to wash all these problems right now.
The semifinals, a big lead for Bigfoot.
In trouble, Moore comes back. John Moore, that's going to be one of the biggest wins of his career. Moore beat number 8.
I'm going to tell you, the giant killer John Moore is having the night of his racing career. He knocks off Bigfoot.
How did you think it could happen? I love it. I don't know whether it could or not, but it just did, and I love it.
Look, John Moore's on a roll. His wife Heidi, his daughter Jill, they're here. You talk about pump. You talk about destiny. We might be seeing it right now.
Well, we're going to look at it again, Army, and we talked about coming off the cars. Watch Bigfoot. He's in trouble again right here.
Okay, Bigfoot is out a complete truck. He has the back pedal. When he does, John Moore is standing there with a big grin on his face and says, I'm going home.
Before the race, we talked about John Moore was going to give it a nice, straight, hard shot. Any mistake was going to be costly for Bigfoot, and that's all it took. That one mistake. Listen to the crowd. I'll tell you, John Moore, No Problem, made a whole bunch of race fans here in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. There you mentioned her.
Yeah, that's his #1 fan. His daughter Jill, his lovely wife. This is definitely a family operation. I'm happy for him.
That's a big one.
Oh, you better believe it. I told you it felt good. Truck seemed to run all right. I hammered it, just hammered it. Felt good. It's about time. This is the second foot I've beat, and I finally can walk with 2 feet.
He stuttered a little bit over the first set of cars. Did you notice that?
Is that what that was? I thought that was my motor stuttering over there. I heard a fumble going on, and I thought it was mine going down again because it ran out of fuel last round, and I thought, oh boy, I got an air bubble or something, but came back to life in the middle, and it worked real good.
Can you win this thing?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to sure give it a shot. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
You know, we talked about the fact that John Moore earlier had never beaten Bigfoot 8. He can take that off his record now. He has a straight-up, no doubt about it, victory over the Bigfoot 8 truck. Now, we're getting worried that the Bigfoot camp is upset about the fact that the track crew watered the track to keep the dust down before this race. Let's go to Chris Chapman and see what she can find out about that.
Andy, it looked like that first set of cars was your downfall.
Nah, I don't know. You know, when we come off the first car, we took it a little easy. You know, we wanted to come out and make sure we were straight, but we got in between the cars, grabbed third gear, and hit it hard. And right before we went out to run, they watered the track down, and water on grass, you know what that makes. You know, we just slid out. I don't know why they watered it, but, you know, they should have did it. If they was going to do it, they should have did it earlier.
I noticed that they were out there watering. Do you think that that played a definite factor?
Yeah, it did, you know. I mean, we wasn't having no problem between the cars there all night long. And like I say, right 2 minutes before you go out and run, they water down the track. And, you know, it's just, I don't know what the idea of it was for. Sometimes you think they're all against you.
Well, obviously, an upset Bigfoot camp. I don't know if that's a case of sour grapes, possibly. You know, you got to consider the fact that both trucks, well, here you see a replay earlier. They did indeed water the track down, but both trucks had to run on that same facility, that same track, the same conditions. Chris Chapman is going to go over and see if she can get a word with Mike Speller, who is the head tech man for TNT and who made the call to water the track.
Thanks, Scott and Army. I am with Mike Speller right now, TNT track official, who has the final say-so in whether or not the track is watered down. Andy Brass was really not too happy of a camper as you decided to make that final call going into semifinal action.
Well, we've been watering the track. It's been very dusty. It's very hot today, and it's been very dusty. These conditions of this track here are very sandy. And we give it a dose of water. We did it on both sides, so it'll be fair for both trucks, and try and keep the dust down for the people and even for the TV.
Andy might have mentioned just a few moments ago that maybe everybody's against him.
Well, we're not. I mean, that's why I made sure it was both sides was watered fairly, so we're not playing games out here. We're running fair competition.
Army, is this just the frustration from the Bigfoot crew because of all their handling problems?
Yeah, I definitely think that's what it is. You know, they came back with such expectations, and really these other guys that caught them, the 2 months they were off, they're paying their dues right now. Take one thing in mind. You've got to adjust to the track. The track will not adjust to you.
Hey, Army, it's time for my old buddy Cruncher and the Crunch of the Week.
Cruncher here. This Crunch of the Week ain't a pretty sight. Brought to you by Glue, makers of micro machines and TuffTrax vehicles. Are you tough enough for TuffTrax?
Are you tough enough to see the Grave Digger's worst crash ever? You know, he hasn't been racing. We showed you this a few weeks ago, but in case you missed it, this is why Grave Digger is on the trailer for the year. This was not a TuffTrax event, but the TNT timing camera caught the crash that eliminates Grave Digger for the season. He hit the wall hard, and actually Dennis Anderson was out for quite some time. Now, he's okay. I mean, out cold. He's okay. The truck is not.
He had his bell rung. As a matter of fact, he hit the wall so hard, the front end of the truck came back and actually made contact with the rear tires. He rung his bell. He does not remember a thing about the incident. He woke up 45 minutes later. Gary Porter, some of the other drivers were helping him out, but believe me, he tagged that wall in New York.
Gravedigger fans, Dennis Anderson's truck may be done for now, but a brand new Gravedigger's on the way. We're ready for the other semifinal of Stafford Springs as the Buffalo Tremor will try to shock the Equalizer. Now, remember, Bigfoot has been beaten. A win here by the Equalizer would be very big in the season point standings.
It would be very big in the point standings because remember, last week a tactical error could have been made by the Equalizer team. That'll remain to be seen as the year winds down. But right now, the business at hand, the kid out of New York knows he's got to fly it all the way over the far lane if he's going to beat the Equalizer. Not going to do it. He has to backpedal half track. Holbrook, why this is a young man's sport, Scott Douglas.
You're right. Buffalo Tremor looked a lot like Bigfoot coming off that first set of cars. Obviously, that right lane is not the place to be right now.
Maybe the water is playing havoc with these guys.
You know, they watered the track evenly, but that doesn't mean each lane has taken the water equally. And indeed, again, just like Bigfoot, Buffalo Tremor got completely squirrely in that area between the two sets of cars. The Equalizer gets the victory, and now Greg Holbrook has already added some points on Bigfoot. He can really take a big step toward a possible world championship by taking the Monster Smash final. He'll have that opportunity, but I'll tell you, no problem, maybe on a roll. Can he pull off one more big upset? You're about to find out. Stafford Springs, Connecticut, the Monster Smash Final for the championship at Stafford Speedway. The Ford Bronco from Lafayette, Tennessee. Left of your screen, there he is, John Moore, the giant killer tonight. The No Problem Ford has already upset Bigfoot, upset the Auto Value King Krunch, and upset USA-1. He'll take on the defending world champion from Springfield, Tennessee, the Equalizer, and Greg Holbrook. It's an all-volunteer state showdown in Connecticut.
Moore's in the lane he wants to be in. Holbrook's exactly where he wants to be. Time to lay the cards on the table. Who takes the win? The light goes green. Showtime. Equalizer.
It will be Greg Holbrook, the Equalizer Chevrolet Army. It's interesting to note that Greg Holbrook had lane choice and took this left-hand side. Earlier, Bigfoot, with lane choice, elected to take the right-hand lane, and every truck since then has had a problem over there. And I thought John Moore got a little bit squirrely. Let's watch the replay and see if he doesn't have the same problem that Bigfoot had earlier.
You know, this thing comes down, it's almost like a chess match. You make a move, they make a move. You make a move, they make a move. Do you make the right move? That's the question. Equalizer, yes, tonight he did. But did he make the wrong move last week? That'll remain to be seen.
And again, no problem, like the other trucks, got squirrely in between the cars in the right-hand lane. Watch him again. You can see it. Just a little bit out of shape. You cannot afford any mistake against the Equalizer. And right there, Greg Holbrook launches over the second set of cars, and he takes a big, big victory late in the season at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Greg Holbrook's your winner.
Greg, tell us about that ride.
That's a real good run that time. I feel like a truck handled real well. John, he put on a heck of a run. He's been running real good in that.
Yeah, is there any pressure on you on the starting line in that last race? You've been in a bunch of them already. I mean, are you nervous at all?
Yeah, you get a little bit nervous every time. You just get used to it. It's something you have to deal with.
Well, the points lead belongs to you. You going to hang on to it?
I sure hope so. If the truck can keep staying together for us, we will.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
As the season winds down, that young man hopes he's about to win a world championship. The second year in a row it would be for his truck owner, and the lead right now is 21. So Equalizer added 6 points this week on TuffTrax to the lead. The Crusher still third. Auto Value King Krunch is a solid fourth. Would like to pick up a spot. The combination of Awesome Kong and the original King Kong is still in the number 5 position. Then it's USA-1, Nightlife, Gravedigger still in the 8th spot. Outlaw and Buffalo Tremor rounding out the top 10. Once again, the Equalizer has come away from Stafford Springs, Connecticut with a 21-point lead heading into the final stages to determine the 1990 TNT World Champion. And we're going to be finding out in future weeks here on TuffTrax. TuffTrax has been brought to you by Z-Rex Antifreeze Coolant. It pays to remember the temperature never drops below Z-Rex. TuffTrax also has been brought to you by Game Boy from Nintendo. Your power to go. For Chris, Army, and Mike Goss, I'm Scott Douglas. See you next week on TuffTrax.